So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages. There is a child back there. He's on his iPad. Hey, buddy. I'm Michael Henry Lee, Japanese poetry stylist, and I will be your host for this National Poetry Month edition of the Ancient City Poets Open Mic, held the last Sunday of every month for 12 consecutive years. So welcome one and all. Give yourselves a big hand. You're here in the flesh to enjoy the spoken word. This is our culminating event for National Poetry Month, and a truly auspicious month it's been, thanks to the efforts of Chris Bodor of the Ancient City Poets and Christina Perry Stone, Executive Director of the St. John's Cultural Council. Our first annual Poet Fest was a big success, an all-day extravaganza that provided a broad gamut of spoken word events, including theater, storytelling, panel discussions, and a continuous open mic that brought together some of the best poets from 4 Florida counties. All that capped off by an after-hours party and a reading at a popular night spot. Proclamation, boy, that's a tough one. Proclamations, no wonder I wasn't invited to that event, acknowledging April as National Poetry Month in St. Augustine were read and presented at the St. Augustine City Hall and the St. John's County Board of Commissioners meeting. But of course, I have saved the best for last. If you know me at all, it must have something to do with haiku, and you're exactly right. The St. John's Cultural Council conducted its second annual haiku contest, and again, myself and my great friend and colleague, who's not here yet, but she's anticipated to arrive, Toni Libro, were invited to be the presiding judges. Prizes were given in 3 categories: 12 and under, 13 to 17, and adult. We had a great time reading all the submissions, and it was difficult selecting the best work. Everyone who submitted an entry is truly a winner, and we have the winner in the adult category with us today. You gonna want to read your poem? That's up to you. Yeah. Okay. She's.
Like the man said, we go absolutely wonderful. I don't want to use the word critiques, but just fun reading, especially for the children.
That's what I do. That and $1 million, I can go to Japan. So if anybody wants to sign me a check, I'm on the way. Thank you. That was very sweet. Arigato. Anyhow, so I was a little taken aback there. I won't get teary though. I promise. So here we go. I'll call your name up to the mic and give you, and I hope you can give me, or us, all of us, the best 5 minutes of your life. I'll warm up the mic with a few Japanese-style haiku and senryu poems. My wife hated this poem, but I'm going to read it anyhow. So, pickled pig's feet. No one can eat just one. Say, Earth Day. Reports of golf cart-size hail. You have to think about that. Boomerang moon. The prodigal son returns to his room. Just as I am. Sunrise service. Cloud shadows. Next to nothing comes over me. High tide. Coming back as a stone crab. Lunch break. An unidentified bird consumes the afternoon. Thank you. Might as well get this poetry reading in motion, and I gotta find the reading list. I'll be right back. Thank you for not going away. Trish Schwadron, come on up.
I know we're supposed to be talking about poetry today, but all my poetry is inspired by nature, so it's the best I can do. So I have a couple poems I'd like to share with you, especially because Earth Day was just Friday. The first poem I wrote after a chance encounter. Let's try that again. This first... Yeah, no, it's all right. If I were king for a day, I would eliminate loud motors, but I'm not king. So the first poem I wrote after a chance encounter with a bioluminescent jellyfish was washed ashore. As I witnessed, I was conflicted whether I should interfere with nature or not. So this poem is titled Ocean Blue. Standing, my toes softly sunken beneath the sand, ticklishly cool foaming land, gazing down at the pulsing light washed up close in front of me, alive but struggling to be free. From this vast gritty stronghold, its clear jelly being, graceful, helpless, unsuccessfully fleeing. The intangible thinness suffocates her stranded, delicate child, until her watery, broad embrace reconciled it to her bosom with an eternal clutch. She removed my pulsing friend, leaving me alone, but not lonely, on the airy August sand. All right, this next poem is about ambition and misplaced priorities, which I have all the time. I try not to, but can't help it. Title is True My Canoe. Oh, crystal water reflection, how you expose my fruitless attempts to trod against currents and eddies in pursuit of some noble ascent, awaiting some phantom perfection, mine to lay claim at the end. Beyond every oxbow I find, my pride and a wound to mend. About me are close calls and pitfalls, behind me a triumph or two. Yet mostly I wonder what's passed me by as I paddle and press my canoe. Henceforth I change my direction and dispense with my paddle and plan. Like a pebble tumbled to smooth roundness, let water and wind take my hand. Their perspective is older, broader, and wiser than mine could ever be. So to hell with ambition, I'll follow the flow and delight in its circuity. With time and attention, I'll pay my respect to the journey laid out just for me. Each granted moment, every marvelous thing, is now part of my destiny. For all I need do is hold true my canoe to complete this magnificent journey. Keep it balanced and quelled, for in it is held the grandeur it is to just be. I try to live that one, but it's really hard. All right. And then this last poem is a reflection on my perception of human stewardship of planet Earth. The title is Butterfly Lost. Flit, my friend, flutter and fly, aloft the breeze that gasps and sighs. Elusive and lucid your motions must be, no place amid our civility. Maniacally loud our silence resounds as we conquer your lands and limit your bounds. O humble heart, must you go? For nothing now have we to know. You're gone. You're gone. Alone we live. Beauty was always yours to give. What world of ignorance denounced your worth, my frail friend, the humanity of Earth?
Excellent. Thank you very much, Trish. Let's give another big round of applause for those are some really great poems. Our next reader is Pat Conover, the adult winner of the second annual Art School. Regaling the success. You know how it is. It's always short-lived. Second annual haiku winner. Thank you, Pat.
Since he keeps talking about it, I'll read it. I'll read it twice, as Michael usually does with his. but today he didn't. And the winner is Downed Tree Limbs Form Sculpture on the Lawn, Spring Break. Downed tree limbs form sculpture on the lawn, Spring Break.
Good punchline.
I'll read a couple more. In your face, intruding on flight path of carpenter bees. In your face, intruding on flight path of carpenter bees. And one more haiku. Sunrise over sea, captured ever more grandly in moonlight's fade. Sunrise over sea, captured ever more grandly in moonlight's fade. And I'll read one tanka, why not? We're doing the whole Japanese thing. Afternoon rains, traffic slows to a crawl. New streams sluicing on glistening blacktop. Thoughts return to the sea. Okay, here's another poem. I call it Wisdom of the Generations. No longer cocooning within our long hair, awaiting a signal to emerge and fly. No longer hiding in the recesses carved out by man to keep us from the light. We carry the wisdom of the generations, women who cannot be lost, glimpses of their firelight at the corners of awareness, the tiniest glimpse of their smiles at the remembrance of their heart song. These mothers of strong girl warriors and loving sons who are shown how to know. In our wombs are pieces of our foremothers. Centuries of light and energy exist in our blood and bones. We carry the wisdom of the generations. I was going to read Yggdrasil, but I think I'll wait and read it next week. And I'll read one more since I have time. This one I wrote a few years ago when I was in Savannah. It was cold. It was a March morning. And I literally wrote it on napkins at the Starbucks or one of those places. It's called Savannah Morning. Grasping fingers of early morn wrap their icy grip around my ankles, plotting to hold me fast to cobblestone streets. March winds test their awakening breaths, hiding round the cotton exchange corners. Here she comes, they whisper, send her the river's chill, and they succeed. Where are spring's harbingers? Are they in azaleas peeking buds, or daffodils bursting through loosened earth? Are they in shamrocks and bunnies in Broughton Street windows? Ribbon-trimmed hats at Gina's Beauty? In a young couple's celebration of a new day beginning? Warm embrace, arms entwined, shared heat of urgency in their lips and loins. Homeless men with their own urgency, tattered, filthy, outstretched Starbucks cups for change. Phones to their ear, suits join the Starbucks parade, as do men in blue, joking and relaxed, and SCAD students designing a better world, their urgency. Forlorn faces wait at the bus stop. Forces unknown drive blank stares and frowns, winter's desperation yet to fade from their eyes. Centuries of lore drip from iron balconies, the stories they carry in their facades, awaiting a sympathetic and heightened ear. Seasons leave their mark in peeling paint and rusted fittings. Behind the shutters lie seasons of man, all glories and failures from birth through death, creating a tapestry of life in 24 squares.
Thank you, Patricia. Can you hear me now? Good. Next, we have the First Lady of Theater here, St. Augustine, Florida, Miss Natalie Beltrami. Thank you.
I'm going to start out, since yesterday was Earth Day, I'm going to start out with a few poems about nature. They're short, so not painful. The first one is called Lesson, and this is particularly appropriate because I heard something about people and solar energy and FPL, so think about that as I read this poem called Lesson in Natural Economy. I have learned generosity from the rain clouds and find peace from knowing that I will never receive a bill for the brilliance of the sun. Next one. It's called Homo Sapiens, but I don't know why. What the heck? Anyway, it's hard to question the wisdom of a sunrise or the depth of a lake. It is useless to measure the economy of the beach, impossible to interrogate a mockingbird in concert. Who would want to? Where do you get your energy, hummingbird? And mockingbird, your scoring. When we are finished reading our books and talking in important voices, when we are finished with our red lights and our white lights, we will find God in the green. And the last nature poem. All right. Bye. God's eye peeks at me through a crack in the curtains. Discontent with my repose, he sends an army of songbirds to assault my ears with melody. I pull the covers up and wait for my alarm clock to tell me it's morning. How does the sun know just where to shine through the curtains of the leaves, outside my window, to paint on my sheets a verdant quasi quilt? I want to pull the greenery up around my head and fill my mind with spring. And this is, since it is National Poetry Month, this is a poem about poetry. Poetry is a bowl into which we place, Poetry is a bowl into which we gently place flowerlets, ready to bloom spring. Poetry is a bowl into which we pour our heart's yearning, wet with passion. Poetry is a bowl into which we cry our losses, bleed our pain. Poetry is a bowl into which we retch up our fears, filling it with the sticky spew of our soiled history, our mistakes that bore 1,000 others, drowning others in the excrement. Poetry is a bowl into which we fling our last hopes, hoping that they will cling to slippery sides and save us from the dark hole of despair. I'm going to read one more nature poem, which will be a little more uplifting. Morning cusps, with its winsome warbling and tedious tweeting, nagging me like an alarm clock to join it in its riotous rhythms. I resist tomorrow. I will rise earlier and slip into my wings and their songs. Tomorrow, I will bathe in the ocean. This morning, I will shower. I pour my cup of decaf and chew on today's trouble while the birds feast on God. Time for one more or no? One more? What the hell? Okay. One last one. This is called Calendar Girl. The days used to drift down from the calendar, slowly making their way to the floor of my history. Some so quiet they were hardly noticed, like a purring cat at the foot of the bed. Days soaked in perfume and champagne, some with tears. A few I framed in gold and hung on the wall, or tucked in my sock drawer to take out in the dead of night and secretly fondle. But recent days have been ripped from the spiral that holds my life together, taking parts of me with them, shattered my peace, shredded my mind into little strips of thought, disconnected and incomplete. A puzzle with missing pieces, no longer retrievable from some dark corner, just gone. Soon, perhaps, it will no longer matter. Soon, perhaps, this calendar may be gone. Perhaps I can order a new one.
Thank you, Natalie. Next, we have an entrepreneur per excellence in the poetry world. Mrs. Lorretto Leto is the authoress of Pam Jam and Pam Jams to Come and lots of good stuff.
Lots of good stuff.
Well, hey, I had to ad lib. I
sprung
didn't
out
have
of
that
all
written
of
down. That was a good.
Hi, I'm Lorretto Leto, and I've been coming to Ancient City Poetry get-togethers since 2013, when I moved down here from Jacksonville. And the silver lining that came out of COVID is that all of these poetry groups from all over have started doing online, so it's grown so great. And really kudos to Chris Bodor, because he's put us on the map. And what came out of it is something called, in 2019, I had a vision to bring poets, artists, and musicians together that was inspired by a whole bunch of things that were going on at that time. And Chris, we took 18 Ancient City poets and we paired them with 18 artists from Butterfield Garage Art Gallery. And Chris came up with the term Pam Jam, and Cindy designed that logo, and they said, Loretta, we're going to help you at St. Augustine, and you can take it and do what you want with it. And so I did Jacksonville, and I did Ponte Vedra in 2021, and we raised money for Title I schools in both St. John's and Duval County. We're going to raise money. It's going to be celebration of the arts, Mother Earth, and our mothers in heaven and on earth. A lot of the videos that got created, we said the rules are there are no rules. We put the poet, the artist, the musician together. We said, come up with what you want. And a lot of the themes were Mother Nature and actually mothers. So we didn't get to do anything down here in St. Augustine. So circling back around now that COVID's is over, and we're going to be having a great celebration. I hope you all come. We're going to have maypoles. We're going to sell heart. $5 gets you a heart to put a message on the maypole. Raffle tickets, drink tickets. We're going to be raffling off original Pam Jams. I've got, if you're interested and you want to come, take one of these, you'll get a free raffle ticket. But love Ancient City Poets, love all these artists. And I actually wrote this poem in 2015 because Chris always had a theme in April of poem in my pocket. And I was listening to like the people that get up and do spoken word and the rhyme, and not that I'm any good at that kind of rhyme, but this is my attempt at like kind of rhyming like oral poetry, and it's called Poem in My Pocket. And it's really like the writer's block version, like when you have writer's block and you're trying to get a poem out on a page. I'm never good at like, here, write a poem about this. I'm never good at that. So this was my frustration in trying to write a poem. It's called Poem in My Pocket. Got a poem in my pocket, wish that I could knock it from the rut in my gut in a rage onto this page where a poem should be. Got a poem in my pocket, hope I can unlock it from the part of my heart in a cage to this page where a poem should be. Got a poem in my pocket, gotta try to unblock it from the grind in my mind to the stage of this page where a poem should be. Got a poem in my pocket, pray I don't drop it down the hole in my soul, growing as I age, trying to fill this page where a poem should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lorretto. The next poet is known only as Max. Hey, you're a first-time reader? Oh my God, we have to have the induction ceremony. First-time reader, you're officially an ancient poet, ancient city poet for the rest of your life, whether you want to admit it or not. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Max. This is actually my first poem reading ever. Like, ever. So I didn't know that we were allowed to do multiple poems, so I only brought one. So just bear with me. It's called My Moon, His World. Okay. My dear moon, please don't ever leave me, for you came to me at my darkest hour and showed me that I didn't need those stars to see in the dark. All I needed was you. My dear moon, please understand that when I say I love you, I mean all of you. Yes, I mean the parts of you I get to see each night, but I also mean the parts I haven't even seen yet. My dear moon, I will never understand why you chose me to be blessed with your presence. My dear moon, I understand that your past worlds did not love your dark side, which is why you never show it. But my dear moon, I want you to understand that I love you. I love how beautiful your power is. I love how even if I may not see you, you are always there for me. I love the parts of you that you are not afraid of showing. But the thing about you that I love the most, my dear moon, is the parts of you that are hidden. I love these parts of you because I am a selfish lover. These hidden parts of you are what make you mine. I have shown you parts of my rocky surface no one has ever come close to seeing. As time passes, our bond grows stronger, and your gravity pulls me closer. Close enough to admire your crevices and your craters. Close enough that I feel like I'm running out of air. God, you are breathtaking. So, my dear moon, understand that when I say I love you, I truly mean all of you.
That was really great. I have to compliment you on actually handwriting a poem into a journal like old school. Yeah, I would. I see, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But I see so many younger people are always on their phone, and they go, "Oh my God, I lost reception. I don't know where my poems are." I just think that's so cool. Thank you. That was a great poem too. Thank you. Next reader is Kelly Simmons. Kelly Simmons, come on down.
And for clarification, it's Simmons, like Richard and Jean. If you know who those people are, you're giving your age away. Great job, Max. So just to also be clear, I do actually write my poems by hand before they go into the phone, but the phone travels better. So okay, so the first poem is about a bee. Just, I won't, I promise. Just observing bees when I'm in nature. To be or not to be, this never occurs to the bumblebee. It just goes on being a bumblebee, hovering up, across, and down, into the happy, open, smiling, and often waving faces of fragrant flowers, like freesia and fuchsia, buzzing along as they fill their corbiculae, with grains of golden pollen for transport, back to the colony for sipping by baby bumblebees, so they can grow up to be big bumblebees. Thank you. And this next one is actually about a funny story that happened to me when I lived in New York. And I have this phrase that I've coined now, pandemic parole awkwardness, where you're out and you're in a crowd, but you're kind of awkward because you're like, how close is too close to stand? And you're kind of aware of all your parts of your body. And so this one is about elbows. Pandemic parole awkwardness caused it to be the part of you that bumped into me, the one that is obdurately craggy and rough. I could tell because it felt scratchy. It's okay, we all have one. Well, technically two. We all have two elbows that allow us to bend our arms, to bring sustenance to our mouths, to beautify our frames with angular grace, and to bake with extra crispy taste. Yet they disappear when we straighten our arms and relax them at our sides so they can swing while we walk, to tell my friends, you and I are going to a diner down the road because this place is too crowded. 2 cups of coffee and 2 pieces of pie later, standing outside in the night, the elbows reappear to bring your lips to my face. We shriek as a pigeon descends at that very moment into our space, and my obdurately craggy and rough elbow hits your face. And I have one more that actually Loretta inspired. So I was trying to write a poem yesterday, and I had writer's block. And it was actually, I was trying to write a rhythmic poem, which is like a song. And so this is what came out. I don't know what to write about. I'll write about my own house, my own house, my own house. How it faces north-south, with a pond for the left ear and a street for the right. Turns out the hallowed garden is best near the door. That's as far as I got. Thank you.
Oh, see, that's what I'm telling you. That doesn't happen with a journal unless it goes into the stream. You're good. Thank you, Kelly. That was a really a cool poem. And now only the truth can be revealed that at one time, yes, I had a VHS tape of Sweatin' to the Oldies. So anyhow, hasn't helped though.
You should put it on again.
Oh, thanks. I'll just prefer 10,000 steps per day. Thank you. Terri Otterman, come on down.
Hello. I have a few, maybe like 4 or 5, but they're short. Okay. Our first one is called Somebody's Someone. You may not be somebody's someone today, but you will be someday. Just as the sun rises anew every day, God's blessings and mercies in our lives do also. They are new every day. Be patient, pray lots, and trust in the one who knows what's best for you. That's the one. All right. This one is called Where You Are Supposed to Be. There's so much I still want to say to you. I wish you were here. I still have so much love left to give you. I wish that you were near. I have so many things to show you. I wonder, can you hear me from that big blue sky? This life, as it is now, was not my plan. My heart is full of fear. Why did you have to leave? Why are you not here? I wish I had the answer. I wish the plan was clear. I wish you were still here, but you're not. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. This one's called We Rolled Well. We rolled well, you and I. You would say, that looks like blood. I would say, it's probably ketchup. You always wanted to solve a mystery. I wanted to make one. You should have been a detective. I should have been a criminal. You made jokes and wore silly masks. I dressed professional, and I wore the business hats. All the kids loved you. You made them laugh. They came to me for food when they were hungry. Yes, you and I rolled well. We complemented each other quite beautifully. I wish we could still roll that way together today. This one I wrote to my child, my son Brandon back there. Just the way you are. I love butterflies and the ocean's breeze, lollipops and shady trees, dandelions and dragonflies, a baby's laugh and tall giraffes. I love waking up early to meet the sunrise, walking by a creek and blue mountain skies. I love watching the stars and gazing at the moon, music festivals and singing a tune. But more than all of these, I love you. You're my shining star. You always will be. You're my dream come true, my pie in the sky. I love your smile, the way you giggle. The way you giggle, the color of your hair, and the way you care. I love you always. I'll love you forever. I love everything about you, just the way you are. This one I kind of gave a title called For a Little While. Okay. Dear glass of wine, thank you for being a friend of mine. Your taste is sweet and a little tart. Your magic heals my broken heart, but only for a little while. Thank you for helping me erase the pain, forget my past and dream again. You make me happy and help me smile, but only for a little while. You go down smooth and tickle my tongue, cause my head to spin and my heart to pound. Then your poison lays me down quietly. I fall off to sleep, but only for a little while. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Terri. And now, the person you've all heard about before, my co-judge in the second annual haiku contest for St. Johns County, the one, the only, Miss Toni Antoinette Libro.
Great to see everybody here today. You know, just looking at all your smiles and the fact that we're all together and we're outside enjoying everything about it. Well, maybe not the traffic so much, but everything else is great, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to follow suit and read some poems about spring and all that entails. And I have this April poem. It's a haiku, and I've read it before, but I can't not read it. So it's April wind. The bird bath overflows with cherry blossoms. It really, and you know, it really happened in my backyard one day. We had a cherry tree and so forth.
It wasn't here, though.
No, it was in New Jersey. Okay. Breezy morning, the red bottle brush tree scrubbing the sky. Noonday sun, a garden snake basks on the welcome mat. He did that too. I'm happy to be up on Charlotte DiGregorio's writer's blog today, and she was doing a theme on rivers. So here's the poem that's up online. If you go to Charlotte DiGregorio's writer's blog, you can get it. Drifting down river, one moonlit August night, banks of bending pine, Here one black bow dips into the calm, cool water, swaying red lanterns. That was actually from a river in Japan, Arashiyama, and the red lanterns were fantastic to see at night. Here's a little one about dragonfly, one of those images that are around us all the time. A dragonfly darts back and forth between us, sewing our reluctant worlds together. And since it was just Easter and there were lots of sunrise services around, here's a poem about that. A tanka poem, 5-line poems, what I've been reading. Sunrise services, a flock of white ibis rise together, our morning prayer over the marshes. Thank you. You're very kind. Michael mentioned earlier, and Loretta mentioned earlier about Pam Jam and the fact that Cindy Wilson did the artwork for the logo and so forth. And I was privileged to work with Cindy as my collaborative artist, which has enriched my life immensely. And we produced this booklet called Midnight in the Garden of Indigo. And Cindy was doing these indigo batiks that just caught my attention and took me away into another world. And what we did was we combined our work in Cindy's indigo batiks and my poetry, mostly tanka poems, which seemed to complement the subject matter. So I'll just read a couple of those for you. And here's Cindy's work regarding the moon on the beach and the shadows that it throws. And here is a haiku that goes with these two. Indigo ocean, an early moon hovers between two worlds. Indigo ocean, an early moon hovers between two worlds. Thank you. And here is another, this is Early Morning at the Springs is the name of it. And the poem that goes with it is Indigo batik, deepening the color until the thicket of a primeval forest invites us in. And in you go as you look at this. And one about the pine. It's early morning, early sun on Lopez Island is the batik name, and the poem that goes with it. The pine cone on the windowsill opens overnight. Suddenly, I find myself understanding. And just one more from this book, picturing in indigo the swallowtail kites. If you've had a chance to see them fly overhead, Michael says they're back now. And we're both fascinated with them, and I know a lot of you are. So here's this wonderful batik picturing the swallowtail kites and the poem that goes with it. Breezy walk, a swallow-tailed kite overhead, our soaring promises on the wing. So thank you. Thank you. I thought I might just read one more. That's okay. This is from a book, my book, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. The Carpenter's Lament in Winter. Carpenter's Lament in Winter, which is a take on a poem by William Carlos Williams. Might recognize that title coming. And it is available from Amazon if you want to take a look. And I'm going to read a poem here, the second poem in the book. And it's about blueberries, since it's blueberry season here. And blueberries are everywhere, and they're delicious and good for you. Blueberries in their buckets. What is it about this picture of mother and son standing in the blueberry fields? He, the taller of the two, arm around her shoulder, her arm around his waist, each with a bucket of blueberries tilted toward the camera, fresh from morning picking. What is it about this picture that makes one want to cry? Perhaps it's the gathering that tells the story, the gentle nudge that lets the blueberry fall into your hands, the sheen of silvery blue globes moist in the early August morning in the Finger Lakes of New York. Are their fingers stained with the juice of the blueberries? What will they do with them once home? Have they tasted the sweetness of the berry already? What is it about this picture that makes one want to cry? The two of them, mother and son, together in the blueberry fields, in the farmlands of the Finger Lakes, fingers stained with blueberries, smiling into the camera, alone with the bounty of the earth and blueberries in their buckets. Thank you. May blueberries be in all your buckets.
Well, you can see who is one of the more talented of the two judges. Anyhow, let's see. Kim Ramsey, come on down.
All right. This poem is inspired. I got the joy of living on a 100-acre horse farm up in Tennessee, and I just came back from that. And so I was hanging around with 33 horses, and this is where this poem came from. It's called Horsepower. A moment in horse's presence, the power and nobility of his stance, those deep, penetrating eyes open doorways to my soul, inviting me to relax, listen closely, and enter in. Every defense of mine unravels, protective barriers keeping me tied up within the conditioning of my mind. Heart unleashed, I embark on a journey down the corridor of his channeled stare. Portals open to a world long forgotten, the innocence of love, the wildness of play. I ride the open plains of my heart's longing, the wind of spirit coursing through me, and in that eternal moment, I feel so free. Telepathically, horse speaks, comforting yet commanding. Powerful you are, majestic like me. Do you now remember who you've been all along? You are your own heart's longing, a child of God born to be free. Now let yourself be. Leaving horse's presence, more confident and assured, untethered by self-imposed limitations, I continue life's journey in growing, joyful freedom, remembering to live from the strength of my heart. I am fueled by horse power. And this poem is kind of my take on these very interesting times that we live in. It's called The In-Between. What to do in the in-between, the stable and known, giving way to penetrating questions. The light of truth probes deeply into the shadows. No more hiding, Darkness abates, bubbles of presumptuous beliefs burst by the rays of light, upset the echo chamber of entrenched minds. Light shining on clandestine worlds, known and unknown, unite in transparent truth. Can I stay with the discomfort, the silence of not knowing, watching these shifting sands swirl under my feet, foundations crumble, known reality fades while portals open to what lies just beyond? Popping bubbles, my beliefs, the illusion of I know. Questioning brings a pause and curiosity. Is there something more to the story of our lives? The misty veils of half-truths part, revealing other worlds unseen. New beginnings commence with wondering, releasing what I think I know and embracing a beginner's mind. Accepting the possibility that I know nothing at all. I surrender in trust to evolutionary currents unfolding. And in these interesting times, this is an opportunity that inspired this poem, and it's called We Wake Up. The fire of our heart's desire lights our way, burning with passion for freedom and truth and the end of all struggle. Entering the dark, peering into the shadows, facing what we've denied consciously or unconsciously, we wake up. Painful it may be, a frightening realization, a wake-up call of the highest order. No longer can we remain asleep, the blazing sunlight illuminating the corridors of our inner landscape. We embrace the conscious. We embrace the unconscious. We wake up. The intensity of light expands brightly in our awareness, the battle between what our minds have known and the energy trapped in our slumbering state, waging a covert war for the soul of humanity, now finds a resolution. In the fires of illumination, we wake up. Our comatose state, now forever shattered, consciousness and unconsciousness merge, becoming a unified stream of internal knowing. Fueled by its strengthening and nourishing warmth, we heal. We forgive. We rise up a luminous whole, honoring our light. We wake up, never to fall asleep again.
Thank you. That was really nice. What a great selection of poems. Is there any closet poets out there that want to come out and read at this opportunity? Or going once, going twice, going 3 times? I guess not. If you don't mind, if you want to indulge me in a few more haiku, that'd be great. If not, you can wander off into the crowd and be part of the great circus that is St. Augustine. Anyhow, so here we go. As you might notice, haiku, just like every poetry style, or I do more senryu, and that's a discussion for a whole workshop thing. Is very, very different from my beloved friend over there's style, which is very lovely and light, and mine's a little bit more harsh. Most of it is senryu. Here's a perfect example. Released on a technicality, rapeseed. Released on a technicality, rapeseed. Let's see here. Fast-moving clouds, shadows part the rooster's comb. A little bit lighter for most of my work. Let's see, a couple more, and we'll call it a wrap, as they say in the showbiz. Regrets, the greatest evidence of my redemption. Regrets, the greatest evidence of my redemption. And in closing, they go, get him off the stage. Damn. Okay. In closing, thank you so much for coming here. It was a great reading, a lot of diverse, wonderful voices. We got to induct a new person into the Ancient City Poets. Welcome back anytime. Just as I am, sunrise service. In closing, would like to thank our technician, Peter Hartley, from Flagler College, Ancient City Brunch Bar, who's not available, but left some treats for us to enjoy. The ArtBox, the Butterfield Gallery for providing the space. Thank you so much, because we would be in the streets today if you hadn't provided the space. And remember to calendar the last Sunday in May for your next Ancient City Poets open mic with a location to be announced. So if you have a question on that, you can go to the Ancient City Poets website on Facebook. Thank you. Namaste, peace and love. God bless.